By the mid-1800s, America was a prosperous young nation, but much of the wealth had been made on the backs of slaves. The slavery system, particularly in the South, had become increasingly inhumane, and the horrors of it ate away at the heart of the country. After waging war with England for liberty and independence, some people believed it was hypocritical to deny rights to African Americans. Blacks had served in the Revolutionary Army and were petitioning for emancipation. White anti-slavery societies agitated for reform, and by 1804 convinced northern states to gradually phase out the practice. But the South resisted. Their thriving economy was dependent on slavery. Stirred by agitation among black abolitionists and a zealous reform movement by white Christians, the Abolitionist Movement grew. Some activists wanted a gradual end to slavery. Others began to take risks. John Rankin, a Presbyterian minister, made his home at the top of a 300-foot hill on the banks of the Ohio River. From there, he used a lit lantern to alert fleeing slaves that the river was safe to cross. Rankin's efforts inspired William Lloyd Garrison, a journalist who detailed the crimes committed against slaves in his weekly newspaper, The Liberator. Garrison founded the American Anti-Slavery Society. Within 7 years, it grew from 1,300 to 250,000 people. They lobbied Congress and wrote and mailed abolitionist literature to the South. The Georgia legislature placed a $5,000 bounty on Garrison's head. After the passage of the Fugitive Slave Law, the radical faction attracted free blacks and ex-slaves. William Still, a free black man in Pennsylvania, was an agent on the Underground Railroad. He housed at least 60 fleeing slaves a month. During one of the interviews he conducted with the fugitives, he discovered he was sheltering his own brother who had been left in bondage when his mother escaped 40 years earlier. After escaping to freedom through the Underground Railroad, Harriet Tubman returned to the South 13 times, leading 70 slaves to freedom. Radical abolitionists believed that slavery would never be ended through peaceful means. In 1859, John Brown led a group of black and white men in a raid on Harper's Ferry, Virginia, hoping to incite a slave rebellion. The insurrection was quickly put down. John Brown was executed. But his death further inflamed anti-slavery sympathy in northern states. And by 1860, when Republican Abraham Lincoln became president, southern states understood that their slave-holding days were numbered.